We begin with a major bit of news from the world of economics. The Bank of Canada has lowered its benchmark interest rate by a 1/4 percentage point, the first rate cut since March of 2020. We heard why a short while ago from the Bank of Canada's governor. Scott Peterson has more on what he had to say.
Well, Tiff Macklem has made it official, the Bank of Canada governor doing what a lot of Canadians were expecting the Bank of Canada to do, and that's lower the rate. The interest rates came down 25 basis points to the overnight rate of 4.75. That is the first rate reduction by the Bank of Canada in over 4 years at the beginning of the pandemic. And it's also interesting, the first country of the G7 to make an interest rate reduction as well. So there'll be a lot of interest from the U.S. Federal Reserve, the European Central Bank, as far as this first move. And Tiff Macklem pointing to the obvious reasons why a rate reduction was necessary now from the Bank of Canada. One, pointing to the GDP. It's slowing a lot more than even he was expecting at 1.7%. Inflation, two, coming within the guideline comfortable by the Bank of Canada at 2.7%. Wage increases coming down to comfortable levels, according to the Bank of Canada governor. And also a sort of a nod to the rising debt levels that a lot of Canadians were experiencing as far as these high interest rates. Now, what this means and some of the justifications behind this decision, here's Tiff Macklem in his own words.
This all means restrictive monetary policy is working to relieve price pressures. And with further and more sustained evidence underlying inflation is easing, monetary policy no longer needs to be as restrictive. In other words, it's appropriate to lower our policy interest rate.
So right now, according to the Bank of Canada, and a lot of economists watching this reaction as well, that the Bank of Canada is now on an easing cycle. What's left to be seen for the rest of the year is how many more times will the Bank of Canada lower rates to make interest payments and affordability more accessible to more Canadians. Scott Peterson, CBC News, Toronto.